I'm Shirley, and I'm 31 years old. A while ago, I finally quit my terrible job so I could take a little break and try to pursue things that I really want to do with my life. Unfortunately, like everyone's dream story, mine also has one or two hitches in it. Apart from financial difficulties, having a mother-in-law who was so adamant about hating me also hindered the way I could have been living for a good year. Carl and I could not have been more different as people, but he was my high school sweetheart, so when he asked me to be married to him, I didn't give it much thought. I thought it was destiny. And also the romance of high school lovers got to me quickly. A few years down the line, I realized that I should have probably spent more time living with him before coming to that decision. Carl and I finished our degrees, but he never put it to work. He'd always say things like,
"I don't think this company deserves me or my honest work. I'll try for another."
"But you just got this job a month ago. You can't quit so suddenly, it will mess us up."
"Relax, we'll just be fine with what I've saved over the years. Until then, I'll go looking for a new job. You don't gotta worry about a thing. And focus on your job."
"Okay, if you hate it so much, I'd really prefer if you found another job first and then quit your existing one, but I can't say much. Please just be okay, Carl. We need the money." Conversations like this were frequent. There were always periods when I was the breadwinner for the house and had no support to run the house. Carl would just idly sit on the couch and watch baseball games and complain about the fridge not working sometimes. And to top it all off, my mother-in-law, Emily, had nothing nice to bring to the table. Emily was a rude woman who was almost never in a good mood. Like Carl, she would find things to complain about and would always whine about the smallest of inconveniences.
"Your bed sheets look pretty old. Why don't you get new ones?"
"They're new. It's just been a few days since we washed them, but I think they can sit around for a little while still."
"No, they look old. You're lying to me. Just get new ones for my son to sleep on, okay? He can't be living in a trashy bedroom like this one."
"The bed sheets are new, Emily, and there's nothing trashy about this bedroom. Also, your son enjoys sleeping on the couch more than the bed. He barely moves from that thing all day long."
"Clearly sleeping alone on the couch is much better for him than falling asleep next to you in your messed up bed."
She'd leave me stunned for words so often by saying such terrible things to me. She's not enjoyed my company since day one. In fact, I'm pretty sure she never said a nice thing to me in our entire time together. There were only days with fewer insults and days with more. I was honestly on the verge of a breakdown constantly. My job wasn't helpful either. I worked at a sales firm that worked my back until it broke. My boss would constantly get all up in my face and disrespect my space. And colleagues were tiring corporate workers who either didn't care about a thing or didn't like me very much for some reason. Even after a year of working with them, they never tried inviting me to lunch. When I'd go by myself, all of them would ignore me until they left the table to get back to work. It was such a pathetic and lonesome experience that I decided to quit my job after getting an offer from another place. Here's what Emily had to say about me everything the day after I quit my job.
"What do you mean you quit? Who's supposed to pay the bills now?"
"Well, Carl is working now, if you know that, and..."
"Don't talk back to me. Carl works in a grocery store and needs to keep his wages so he can afford to live in his own shoes, so he can support his own lifestyle. You're the woman of the house. You're supposed to run the house, not him."
"Nonsense. He's supposed to contribute too. He lives here too. It's not my fault he quit his well-paying job just so he has to work less and get paid less. I'm tired of working my scum job and need to be in a better place that respects me."
"Women like you are not worthy of respect. Look at me. I'm the matriarch of my house, and no one dare ask me to step off my work even if they wanted to. Here you are, quitting for an ounce of more respect somewhere else."
"First of all, you live alone in your house, Emily, so there's no one to ask you anything for any reason. Secondly, you have no work other than making tea and taking a nap in the afternoon. You say you knit sweaters, but those things are nightmares woven out of wool. So stop all this banter already."
"You did not just say that to me. Oh, I see how you're keeping things tied together in this house."
She said that and stormed off. I thought I hit a nerve, but I wasn't about to be ashamed of it. Emily had been a pain in my neck for a long time, and at that point, I was just trying to get rid of everything. My new job gave me a super shiny camera in my hand so I could photograph birds in the wild. It didn't pay a lot because it was an internship with a very successful photographer, but he was willing to give me the job if I performed well. Yes, photography was merely a passion for me, but when you love something, you put in a lot of effort. I'd amassed a great portfolio over the years, and it was just what he was looking for. Most importantly, it meant having a break from all these domestic issues in the house. I'd have to go on small trips across the country to get some pictures. I was super excited about it, but obviously, Carl wasn't very pleased.
Photography? You'll be a minimum wage worker again, you mean? Like me?
It's more than just minimum wage, Carl, and honestly, for something like this, I'd happily accept less money too. It doesn't matter. I'll be homeless and can send you some money over. Best I can do for now.
You think you can just get up and leave me? I've been working hard left, right, and center, you know. It's not all you.
If it's not all me, then why does it feel like it's all me, Carl? You never share a penny from what you earn and spend it on beers and betting on baseball games. It's like I'm running this house on my own.
Yeah, you're running your mouth too, you know.
I can't believe you just said that to me. You need to just pipe down if you want me to keep supporting this little family.
Whatever, Shirley. You're not as fun as you used to be. Now you're all worried and tense and materialistic. You never sit down with me to just talk and watch the game.
All you do is watch the game. Even during the off-season, you watch highlights and recordings. You're addicted. The other day, that man fooled you out of money over a recorded game. How stupid is that?
It's not stupid, it's called taking a risk. Something you must have never learned.
As if marrying you wasn't risky enough.
Just divorce me then.
Guess I will. We fought back and forth every other day, and asking for a divorce wasn't uncommon. It was like we were already an old bickering couple and we barely hit our 30s together. It wasn't working out really well, and I was genuinely considering divorcing Carl for good. But at the same time, I still love him and find myself attached to him. I think a lot of my time got spent thinking about making ends meet and making the family thing work, but I'd run out of patience. I left for my week-long photography excursion the following week. Carl didn't seem too excited about me leaving or starting a new job, but I hoped he'd be more understanding once I returned from it. It was as if the man barely participated in the marriage at all. He was just there. A week later, I came back from the job after earning high praises for my skills and a lot of instructions to work on for the future. I bumped into Emily as soon as I entered through the lawn, and I wish someone would give me instructions to handle that woman as well.
Why have you bothered to come back home at all? You should have shacked with your boss.
Emily, this is my house. I'll come back and stay whenever I want.
Oh, please, stop talking like you know everything. My son has been working hard, taking up multiple shifts at a time just so he can help make ends meet. And here you are, flying away with God knows who to do God knows what. Just say you're unemployed and living a lie and get out of my son's house.
Oh my God, you and your son both only exist to ruin my day. Make ends meet? Carl wakes up on the couch, takes a shower, and goes to work, and then comes back to fall asleep on the couch while losing money with all the bets. That's him contributing to make ends meet. He does not do anything at all. You want to see it? Come on in. Today's Sunday. He should be lying right there on the couch. I opened the door, and lo and behold, Carl was lying face down on the couch with pizza boxes littered all over the place. I could see at least one of our chairs missing, and the fridge had disappeared too. The house was in tatters. I could see that the stove was also missing from the kitchen corner along with a bunch of other things. There was trash spilled all over the floor. The sheer look of horror on my face was nothing compared to that on Emily's face.
What? What is this? Who did this?
Who do you think, Emily? I can bet money it wasn't some burglar because the TV and your precious son are both right there.
Carl, wake up!
She went in running to check on him. He was all right, not hurt, just asleep as usual. I already knew this. He woke up briefly to see his mother waking him up and casually went back to sleep again. Crumbs from the other night were still sticking to his face. At that point, I was surprised he was being allowed to keep any job at all. When Carl finally woke up, me and Emily were still there. She had been silent the whole time as she picked up some trash to help throw it away.
Mom, what are you doing here? You didn't call before coming.
I can't believe this. What have you done to yourself? What have you done to the place?
Carl, where's the fridge? And the chair and the stove? Where is everything?
I don't know. Must be right where you left it. Check.
Carl, I'm not in the mood. What did you do with the stuff?
Do we have to do this right now?
Carl, honey, what did you do with the stuff? Can you tell Mommy?
It's nothing, it's just...
Speak up.
I sold it.
What? Why?
I mean, the fridge needed fixing all the time. The chair wasn't doing us any good, and you cook horrible food on the stove, so it's all useless anyway. What's the point of hoarding all this stuff when it does us no good?
You imbecile. Do you know how much all that stuff cost us? No, you wouldn't know now, would you? Because you don't spend anything at all. You wouldn't be able to tell a fridge price from that of a pack of waffles.
Don't talk to my son with that tone. He's just having a rough time right now.
Oh, yeah? Why don't you give me back my fridge then, Emily? Why don't you give us a stove and some chairs while you're at it? Because neither of us can get it now.
Why would I give you anything? It's not my responsibility.
Why don't you take Carl, who is your responsibility now, and head back home?
This is our house. You just live in it.
Yes, tell her, sweetie. We'll fix this mess, but until then, Shirley, you can leave for good.
That was it. It made me lose it all. I'd been working so hard for us to have a stable life, but all Carl and his mom would do was sabotage everything I stood for and worked for. What had I done to deserve this? It was at that point that I felt the sheer burden of the silly mistake I made in high school. Carl was a cool kid and very handsome at the time. Now, I see a man who managed to defeat himself in the comfort of his mother's home. I had to say it. You two have no idea how real life works, do you? You live in your mom's old house, eating off of your wife's money like a child still, Carl. And you, Emily, don't act like you're not absolutely ashamed of what's going on here. You thought your son was fully functional, didn't you? He have a job and work shifts. Look at him now, selling things away just so he can lose money on baseball. I don't like the way I'm what? Telling you the truth? Come on, Emily. You're a nitpick and a narcissist, but you're not blind. Your son sits and eats on the couch like a parasite. Would you handle it if it was your husband?
Do you have to bring my dad into this?
What dad, Carl? You never had one. Didn't you get rid of him because he was no good for Emily? Give me a reason to not get rid of your son, too.
You won't have a home to live in, because I've been asking you to leave for so long.
Quite frankly, living with you around is worse than being homeless, Carl.
Enough. You can't keep saying whatever's on your mind, girl, or I'll...
Or you'll what? Cry about it?
I will.
You'll what? Go cry, Emily? I bought half of the furniture with my money. The stove was mine and the fridge came from my salary. So I'm going to call the police. What do you think?
You wouldn't dare.
Please don't call the police.
I finally heard the confidence in Emily's ever-so-stubborn voice break. She could see that the situation she was in bright as day. All I had to do was keep pushing them so they could feel how they made me feel for so long. I knew I was going to divorce Carl right then and there. I wasn't allowing it to cross. Why shouldn't I?
I'll pay you back. I promise. How much do you want?
Mom, no. What are you talking about?
You shut up. I can't believe what you've done to this house. You grew up here, Carl. How could you ruin it?
I want $100K, no less.
Are you insane? What would you need so much money for?
Test me and you'll know why. That was the last thing I said to them. Emily ran out of patience and accepted defeat. She walked out of the house in tears as Carl ran after her. Before the two returned, I had already packed my bags and called a taxi. Carl tried to stop me, but it was too late. I wanted to go to my friends in the neighboring city, but that would hurt my cash too much, so I decided to stay in a motel for the time being. The same night, Carl called me over 1,000,000 times and I didn't pick up. I knew he was going to abuse me and yell at me. I had no energy for his childish self. I just wanted to cry a little and go to sleep. The next morning, I woke up to my phone ringing again. Fully expecting Carl, I lifted up my phone just to see that it was Emily.
Where have you been? Carl's been calling you like crazy. You just disappeared.
I wanted to disappear, Emily. What do you want?
Please don't press charges against me and my son. I promise we'll stay out of your life. Don't squeeze him for alimony either. I'll give you what you want.
Yeah? And what is it that I want?
The money. I'll give it to you. And more if you can maybe...
Maybe what?
If you could give my Carl another chance, I can give you even more money.
You don't get it at all, do you, Emily? My mental health is far more important than having more money. I'm not coming back to that house to handle your and Carl's messes. I'm done cleaning up after him. I'm not his mother. You are.
Why do you have to talk like that? Carl isn't a bad boy. He's just a bit tired these days. Once he gets better, I'm sure you two will hit it off again.
That ship has long sailed. Give me what I'm owed and a little extra I asked for. That's all I
love that house, Shirley. You don't get it. I realize you were the only one keeping it all together. Without you, I think my boy will fall even further. Only you can save him.
But then who's gonna save me? I have a life too. I've sacrificed these few years working a terrible job just so we could stay afloat. I'm done covering for him. And all the terrible things you kept saying to me, don't you see you're part of the problem?
I get it. Just please come back. I beg you, he needs you. He'll have a hard time finding another woman in such a short time.
Oh God, look at how you speak of women. Short time? He's gonna have a hard time finding one if it takes 100 years. I'm done with this thing. Send me the money and I'll send him the divorce papers. Goodbye, Emily. I'll wait for the check. And with that, I cut it off. Carl called me again several times, but I didn't pick up. My family also received calls, but I asked them to keep ignoring them. There was nothing kind about the two of them. Nothing kind about the way I was treated. I was stupid to think I was in love for affection. It was surprising to me that Emily became so sober suddenly, but she was still looking out for her son and her son alone. I wonder if she'd been so nice if I hadn't threatened to press charges. Either way, I was out of that house and miles away for a good reason. All I needed was a place to stay and a camera to keep my work going. In the coming weeks, things moved on. I went on another work trip and met a bunch of other aspiring photographers. The divorce papers came back signed by Carl, and shortly after, Emily sent me the check. It was all working out perfectly. After the court hearing, I completely cut them off. My troubles never interfered with my work again. Today, I feel free and in charge of myself. I've been hired permanently, and there's been a huge raise that helps me do really well for myself. Soon, I'll buy my own apartment, and I've also met this wonderful guy named Connor. Connor was a photography intern with my boss's friend, and we met during a collaborative shoot. We started dating soon after, and it will be 3 months soon. He is so much better and treats me with kindness and love like Carl never could. Looks like taking charge of my own life really paid off. I couldn't be happier.